I'm Paola Minekov.
And I'm Loa Kum Cheung.
Perfect. Well, so we both have your works, which is terribly handy. So can you make a small introduction about what you make, who you are, how you got to be an artist?
Well, I am a painter, so this is one of my paintings. It's called The Outsider from my MTArt series. I'm originally from Bulgaria. I've been living in London for 8 years, and I've traveled around quite a bit. I've lived in Israel and the Netherlands before. So upstairs, I'm presenting my cityscape series. I come from a family of artists, so I guess it was kind of natural that I would be interested and want to develop my career in this way.
To you, Michelle?
Thank you. So I am the complete contrast to Paola, I think, our life story. So I just moved to London 8 months ago, where she spent 8 years here, and I'm from Australia originally, Sydney. My culture, my cultural heritage is Chinese, but my parents were born in Mauritius, and I was born in Australia with my sisters. And I come from a family that has absolutely no association with the arts at all. So I think that at first I tried to sort of, I guess, do art, but then embrace how my mum and dad wanted me to live. But eventually the desire to do art grew very, very strong. And so
Was that difficult?
It was difficult because I think that my parents are traditionally Asian or Chinese, but they don't necessarily 100% support me doing art. And that's not to say that they don't support me, because I do think they want me to be happy, but I think that they are unsure that art can do that in terms of economy and stability, and so that has been difficult to sort of convince them of it, and to convince myself of it as well.
So what do you convince yourself of? What arguments do you use to convince yourself?
That it's not worth going through life and not doing what you want to do. You have to. Well, that sounds very indulgent, doesn't it? But I think I had gone for. I did study at uni, fine arts, but I had gone through a few years outside of uni, not embracing my desire to do art, and the feeling of dissatisfaction and unsettlement has sort of grown for a few years since then. So that's why I'm here. I've been practicing in London for 4 months now, and it's really great to be part of this.
Like, does the way you brought up and probably quite open-minded influence how you create now?
Well, yes, but I've also basically been practicing for 8 years independently of my family and my natural habitat in Bulgaria, I suppose. So,
What's the contrast between Bulgaria and London, art-wise?
Well, I mean, the art world is really small here and there, so not such a contrast, I suppose. Here, people are a little bit more supportive, and there's a lot more opportunities, and many more world-scale events and interesting stuff like this event. Yeah, it's slightly alternative and very different.
How often do you paint? How often do you create? Like, is that necessity, or is that do you live it and come back to it later?
Oh, it's a necessity. You live with it. You can't. I mean, like her, basically, if you're an artist, if you're meant to make art, you need to do it, and you can't really escape it, regardless of your education and what your family wants. So, yeah, I suppose that would be an interesting question for you to answer as well. Elaborate a bit some more.
Yes, I mean, I think that art is one of those things that if you're an artist, you feel the need to, just like any other career path. It's just that obviously being an artist is quite difficult because you don't see those returns straight away, and or maybe not at all, and then you can continue on without the guarantee of getting what you want, whether it's the recognition or money or just making it for yourself. But yes, I do feel really compelled to make art, and actually the run up to this has been quite difficult. I don't know about you, but I've been working till about midnight every single night for at least a month, and it's been terrifying, but enjoyable the whole time. I think that sort of feeds into the very romantic ideal about art and artists and doing art. This round landscape on wood. So I have a series of these, and I also have, which is very hard to see, drawings in little bottles. And the idea behind both of these is touching again on the dislocation between my heritage as being Chinese and my grandparents, my parents being born in Mauritius and me being born in Australia. So I feel like the connection to what my traditional family lineage should have been is the space between that is growing, and especially now that I live in London, in Europe, which is a different continent to all those places entirely, the space is becoming quite a bit larger. And I don't speak Mandarin or Cantonese. I tried when I was younger, but my parents speak French, so they weren't able to converse with me at all. And so now all I speak is English, and I've never been to China, and I think that being away from family has made that more pronounced. And so in my works, I have borrowed memories from old family photos, other people's holiday snaps, and also Google satellite images, but none that I've experienced firsthand myself. And it's really important that the idea that I'm borrowing and reappropriating all these recollections and applying them to my own art. So the idea of the bottles is that there are these drawings that are now captured in a bottle. You can't see them in their entirety, you can never get them out again. And this is where my work, I think, is heading, borrowing sort of the colours from this red geological landscape in China called Danxia, and there's also one in Mauritius, and obviously Australia is the country of red land, and I just want to try to tie that all together. It's sort of my way of reconciling that dislocation that I let happen, you know, and I'm trying to find a way to challenge it, I suppose.
Well, this painting, like I said, is called The Outsider. It explores basically the boundaries of inhibitions and desire between men and women. It's vaguely based the composition on the kiss. And it's one of my first paintings from the series, The Undercurrents. It's all about emotions and depicting emotions and feelings. And it was a departure for me because my palette has always been very colorful, as you can probably see upstairs if you go and have a look. So yeah, I just wanted to remove the color as a distraction from the idea of the artworks. Again, that's quite different from what Michelle does, because my paintings are always based on personal experiences as opposed to borrowed ones.
How do you, that's always a thing I just wonder about artists, is sometimes you have like departures, so like, or evolution of work that you say. How do you sense it coming? It sounds basically first we're not into it, but suddenly you just see things that at some point just striking. Is that psychologically, emotionally, or just a different inspiration? Or
I think it's different for every artist. So for me, I paint from my imagination, and I quite often kind of imagine the painting before I painted it. I don't sit and sketch and sketch and sketch and come up with something. So I more or less know what it's going to look like. And also, I suppose one thing leads to another, kind of in my head. And I often work on a number of different paintings from different series at the same time. So quite honestly, I get a little bored of, say, painting in monochrome, then I'll pick up something that's very colorful and then go back to it, and it's a bit of a mixture.
and does that play with mood?
Yeah, well, definitely.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so if you're
create less or create more.
I create more when I feel good and when I'm happy, as opposed to, you know, the idea of struggling, miserable artist. That's me. And I typically create the more sad and contemplative paintings when I feel better, and the other way around. So when I need to cheer myself up, I might pick up orange and yellow.
Okay, interesting. And you?
Well, actually, when you say that now, I feel like a lot of my artworks in the past have been born from some sort of anxiety. Like, you know, like I don't know that I would have ever explored Chinese art, or I'm touching on it now and I'm going to explore it more, but I mean, that is in part because I've been travelling outside of Australia for the past 2 years, and it's sort of just been growing from that. But had I stayed in Australia, I probably felt very satisfied, you know, not needed to explore it at all, still be with my family, and but now that I'm not, and that there's sort of this angst that has grown from it, and I need to explore that. I mean, it could just be life changes that trigger changes in your art, because I assume that you becoming a mother would have changed things. And
Well, it has changed my whole life.
yeah,
It's very recent. I've only had baby 10 months ago, so.
but at the same time, like, London is a city of opportunity, and so if something comes up where we can appropriate artwork to it, then we will. So Paola and I are both involved in something called the THoTA project, which is run by the Office of the Mayor of London, and it required us to submit an artwork but animate it digitally, and obviously our artworks, or where we're exploring, it's not digital at all. So we had to really appropriate what we were doing to fit that. So I don't know if that's true for you, that you feel like when opportunity comes, or when there's a brief but you respond to it, then you can change your practice.
Yeah. Yeah, also I do have a background in digital media and stuff, so for me it was a very interesting project to get involved with.
Obviously, there's been a bit of debate for the past few weeks about women artists, and there's more and more women artists, especially around in Basel. Especially since now you're mother as well. I've heard that with my female artists that their careers almost stop because of this. How do you? And it's a tough question to you. You can't just say girl, but as a woman, that kind of
It's a very interesting question. I postponed motherhood for a good few years after coming to London, so that I can develop my career to some extent, create some connections, meet some people, network, and have something to go back to once I decide, because it's so hard. If I was to come here and have a child right away, I think I would not have had a career. We have a very lovely lady who's here taking a video from a new charity organization called the House of the Artist, Young Me. So she's really helped with setting everything up and organizing, and the room and social media and all that. So I've had a lot of support, and I have a new assistant. So that's, you have to basically make this decision and start to delegate a little bit, because you can't do everything yourself once you have children.
And does that help, therefore, to like have a collaborative of artists and lyrics artists, and you can exchange on that? Like,
Oh, totally, yeah. I mean, it's a support network, isn't it? So, yeah.
is there something you want people to be left with when they look at your works, or like, what's the most loveliest return you've had with your works? Did you have reactions or?
Yeah, well, many positive reactions and comments, and I think that's lovely. I've met some people I've been in touch with by email before, so that's quite interesting that they came to see me. I have a good friend here from Bulgaria who's also an artist working in London, and yeah, it's been interesting. I think professionally, just meeting other people and seeing work for me is it's, like I said, it's a return to work. So it's one of the first events I'm taking part in.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I think specifically to this show, I don't know if any of you have seen my room with the bottles that I put on the bed. I think that the ideas that I wanted to convey about the sort of captured and borrowed memories, a lot of people did really respond to that, and I thought it was a really nice and intimate way to express that, because you can pick up the bottles and sort of hold it, and the tactility that provides is a really good thing. But I think that, you know, obviously being in this setting, being able to, yes, speak and talk to 80 other artists, it's just, you won't get that anywhere else. Very lucky to meet Paola. We actually even just met like the night before any of this happened for the THoTA, and I think that what's been nicest is A, people talking to you, and B, them asking you questions that you hadn't considered. And when you have so many different audiences coming, you get a lot of questions that you're like, oh, what is my answer to that? Come back later and I'll formulate one for you. But yeah, I think that's been good, the surprising things. Yeah.
Good, great. Well, thank you very much.